Dear friends of the football family, it's indeed my pleasure and an honor to speak here at this first Café conference. It's about a topic which is indeed very close to my heart, delivering accessible venues. My name is Ben Veenbrink, as Joyce was saying. I'm a member of the UEFA expert panel on stadium construction and stadium management. What we do as a team, we provide advice and assistance to UEFA in developing standards, regulations and good practice. We also provide workshop and training, and most recently we have been involved on behalf of UEFA in monitoring the deliverability of all the football stadia in Poland and the Ukraine for UEFA Euro 2012. My agenda for today is that I would like to take you through the UEFA program for the disabled fans, the challenges that we are facing, some opportunities that we have in front of us, and last but not least, I would like to quickly introduce the UEFA Good Practice Guide that we developed together with CAF as part of the UEFA program for the disabled. But before I go to the UEFA program for the disabled, I would like to put this into the context of a wider program of UEFA Philosophy that we try to explain to all who are involved in football, and that is putting the fans first. This philosophy of putting the fans first sounds very obvious, but it is actually not in football. I think we have all been in situations where we know that fans are not really treated as guests or as customers, but rather as undesired elements of football, or sometimes as hooligans when they are not. And this has to change, and I think also in the philosophy of UEFA and stadium management, the safety approach of fans has to change. Putting the fans first means that UEFA wishes to ensure a safe, secure and welcoming environment for the fans, and that means all of the fans, and not excluding any of the fan groups. In order to achieve this, UEFA propagates a so-called integrated safety, security and service concept. In this concept, as you can see from the picture with the iceberg, the people event experience is the visible part, is the focus of what we're all doing, with safety and security, the foundation layers that should be not that clearly visible to everybody. As you can see in this trinity of safety, service and security, the event experience should always be at the core. In other words, putting the fans first. And this should always be the case, and this should always be the core of UEFA's and stadium safety management approach. In practice, this means promoting good behavior of fans by creating controlled and welcoming environments, offering compelling fan experiences, good care for everybody attending, treating your fans as customers, and even better, treating your fans as guests, because a guest you receive in your house as well. It also means creating state-of-the-art facilities for all target groups. It means equal treatment of fans, whether they are away fans or they are home fans, whether they are disabled or other vulnerable fan groups. All fans should be treated equal, and there should be an inclusive approach rather than an exclusive approach by segregating fan groups. This customer-oriented philosophy of putting the fans first should be followed all the way through the event cycle, from buying a ticket prior to an event to returning home safely after the event. I will show you a video in the next few minutes which was actually developed to promote this approach to stadium managers and police commanders for Euro 2012, and it highlights the event cycle approach with the fans at the heart of everything we do.
On European match days, most people will tune in to watch the football at home, in their comfortable chairs, beer in the freezer, peanuts on the table. But many fans take the trouble to travel to the stadium itself, to enjoy the spectacle in more than 3D, to be part of the experience. Now, for organizers of matches, events start and end with the spectators. And it's their responsibility to see that fans can visit the match and return home safely. But there's more to it. If fans enjoy the event, they're more likely to return to the host city and the venue, spending more time and money expressing their love for football. For organizers, this may present different challenges as supporters go from home to the host city and the venue itself. The whole cycle starts with supporters preparing for travel, checking tickets and travel arrangements. Now, sometimes away fans decide to stay several days in the host city, enjoying the touristic highlights. But of course, all stages are interconnected. One stage leading into the next, with a visit to the match as the highlight of the trip. But this blueprint is not only useful for clubs who want to treat their spectators as valued customers. It also helps police and authorities to understand how to promote positive fan behavior, and it empowers fans to return the friendly reception by the city and its residents. The rule is so simple: if fans are treated well, they will be far more likely to behave in a positive and responsible way. All we want to achieve is that people are able to visit European matches and return home in the same conditions as they arrived. And perhaps they've enjoyed the experience so much that one day they will come back again. So in the end, to be here in the stadium may be the ultimate aim of fans, but fan experience and behavior is heavily influenced by each stage of his trip. Our model shows that for any match, organizations need to work together, and they need to understand that each contributes to positive fan behavior and experience.
It is within this context that we also should position the UEFA program for the disabled. I think treating disabled fan groups as a key customer and putting them at the heart of the event cycle and making sure that they have a safe trip all the way from buying a ticket to returning home safely. The UEFA program for the disabled promotes equal treatment for disabled fans. It promotes treatment of vulnerable fans as part of the stadium management policy. It promotes the appointment of disability liaison officers, and it promotes training for all staff in dealing with disabled people with a specific emphasis on respect. And it promotes accessible stadia and appropriate facilities and services. Basically, it means that disabled people should be considered as a key target group. Not only because access is a fundamental human right, but disabled people are in fact a key customer group. I think Joyce has also mentioned a few of these statistics, but there are more than 80 million disabled persons in the EU alone. That is 1/6 of our population. 20% of this population requires accessible infrastructures. 1% of our population uses a wheelchair, and there are more than 500,000 active disabled football fans in Europe, in the UEFA region. That means football fans that sometimes visit matches and go in frequent stadia. However, there's still 1/3 of the disabled population that doesn't travel, as Joyce was saying, because there is inaccessible venues, and that's really a pity. So there's also a big opportunity out there and a big market. UEFA conducted a survey of disabled fan facilities, or fan facilities in general, I must say, in 2010. And there was two specific items which were researched in this survey. One was the away fans facilities, and the other one was facilities for disabled supporters. All 76 stadia which were involved in organizing UEFA Champions League and UEFA Europa League matches in 2010, from the group stage onwards, were surveyed. And I'll show you some of the, before I show that, I will first show you the survey areas, its access for the disabled supporters, its wheelchair user positions and the view on the pitch, facilities and services for the hard of hearing and the deaf fans, facilities and services for the partially sighted and the blind supporters, toilet facilities and catering facilities. These were the key areas that were investigating during this survey. And now I'll show you some of the findings of that survey. Here you see a picture with a nice graph of how an access ramp for wheelchairs should be designed, and the actual ramp that we discovered in one of the stadia. I'm not sure whether it's in line with safety and fire regulations, but I don't think it's in line with good practice to provide this. This is actually a wheelchair user position. It's actually a good example in this case. I'm not sure whether it was from the survey, this picture, because it looks like the Milton Keynes Stadium to me. Pitch view. Well, here you see, of course, a terrible example of poor pitch view, with fences blocking obstructing the view, and even stewards standing in the way during the match. Not the right way to do it. Two examples of toilets. On the right hand of the picture, a good example of good practice as per the guide, and left a temporary facility. I don't know how accessible that is, but I'm sure some of you have your own opinions about that. Refreshment or catering facilities, yet two extremes of the facilities that we've seen during this survey. And this is just some of the observations and the findings that we have found. What this survey clearly showed is some of the challenges that we are facing in delivering accessible football stadia in Europe. There's a large variance in the quality and the safety of welfare facility, including the facilities for disabled fans, throughout stadia in Europe. There's a lot of old stadia with no maintenance or with no refurbishments implemented for the last decades. There's no integrated safety security service concept in a lot of stadiums. They're not treating the fans as a valuable customer or guest. And I'm sorry to say, but then sometimes equal treatment often means poor treatment for all fan groups, not only for disabled groups, but some stadiums are just, well, not really propaganda for the football. Some other challenges: that all stadia are difficult to upgrade, especially to create quality welfare and disabled facilities. Nonetheless, there are some solutions, and we've, together with CAFE, developed this good practice guide, and I think there's some good examples to overcome this. Stadia are often not owned by the club, so they have no control over the welfare facilities and the quality of these facilities. And last but not least, there's in a lot of countries there's a high investment versus a low return on investment on creating proper fan facilities. And in some countries you pay less than €1 for a ticket, and therefore there's a focus of stadium management and the club to create only decent VIP facilities, and they don't care about the rest of the fans. Luckily enough, there's also a lot of opportunities. There are ready-made solutions available to create welfare and disabled facilities in all stadia, as you will see in the good practice guideline. There's a boom of new stadium facilities throughout Europe, triggered by Champions League finals and the organization of Euro tournaments. And there's an opportunity to create state-of-the-art welfare facilities in these stadiums for all fans, and I think we have a good example for the facilities that have recently been created in Poland and the Ukraine as part of the new venues developed for the Euro 2012. Stadia should actually, in my opinion, be the role model for the creation of state-of-the-art facilities for disabled groups in society. Football is an example, and is a sport that many people in Europe love and should set an example for society in this respect. Also, if you look at the statistics and the large target groups, I think it's not more than good business practice to also include disabled fan groups as a key target group. And last but not least, I think it's not more than normal to me and that you create these type of facilities, but it also contributes to the social image of your football club to create good facilities for all your fans, including disabled fans. In conclusion, I think we have a long way to go in Europe to create accessible stadia. It's a path full of challenges, but also a path full of opportunities. And as a guidance for good practice, UEFA and CAFE together have published a good practice guide, which I will launch later this afternoon together with Joyce Cook. And it was part of the UEFA program of the disabled. First of all, as a good guideline to show good practice for creating accessible stadia. It provides recommendations not only for new stadia, but also for existing stadia. So no more excuses allowed, I would say. It's following the entire event cycle from buying a ticket from an accessible website all the way to returning home safely. And it not only addresses the physical factor, the P factor of stadia, so the physical condition of the building, but it also addresses what stadium management should do in delivering good service to all fan groups. That brings me to the end of my presentation. I would like to thank you for your attention, and I'm sure if there's questions, I will be in the next panel, so you can ask me all the questions you want. Thank you.